Welcome back to Tales of Truth, where we tell the truth about veterinary medicine. I'm Dr. Angie, and this is my co-host and veterinary nurse extraordinaire, JoJo. Hey, JoJo.
Hey. Hi.
We
We
have a
look
great...
all fallish today for people who
Well,
can't
you
see us.
do. I am pink.
I feel like pink is a fall color.
Is it? It's spring.
Yeah,
All the
it's like a
tulips.
year-round color. So,
Today, we're going to talk about early or late spay and neuter. When should you spay or neuter your dog? This is definitely not an episode for cats. Although we can give cats a mention, but most people spay and neuter their cats on time, and every once in a while they don't. But I think that's we'll mention it in here, but this is mostly for dogs.
okay.
And it's changing over time. Our
And we're going to
recommendations.
cover your options with spaying and neutering beyond timeline.
Yes.
You're getting some options in that world.
Yes.
So, where do we want to jump in?
Well, I had a really great conversation yesterday in my exam room, and an 18-month-old Akita came in. And can I just get off topic and have an ADHD moment where I want an Akita.
It's so funny that you say this right now, because I just launched our dog breed episode yesterday where you talk about how badly you want an Akita, and it got shut down by the dog trainer.
Yes. Yeah. Marissa Martino was like, ma'am, no.
So funny that you would launch right into this timely.
I know. So I just have to I just want an Akita. And as a single woman, I would love to have an Akita next to me. Like, they are so protective, but they look like teddy bears. And this Akita that I saw yesterday, she wasn't overly affectionate, but she was a little bit more affectionate. She was very sweet and gentle. And it just made me want one. I know, for those of you listening, I'm not going to get one. I have small children, and I know that they're great with small children, but I'm pretty sure if I got an Akita, it would bite my kids' friends. So,
There we go.
but
So
anyway.
it sounds like you saw a female Akita, so maybe we just jump into Spays.
Let's talk about Spays. So we used to spay dogs by 6 months. Now, if a dog's in a shelter, we'll do it really early, 8 to 12 weeks. And we know, the literature tells us, that we have more bad outcomes when we spay dogs before 6 months. We have more behavior problems. We have more urinary incontinence. So it's not really a good idea, if you can, to spay them before 6 months or neuter them before 6 months. But a lot of shelters do it. And the reason why they're doing it is because they're trying to save lives. So you have, an overpopulation of dogs and cats and what to do about that. But then you also have an individual animal's needs that we're trying to balance. And so in this episode, I am not going to come after shelter medicine and what shelter veterinarians are doing. And they're doing their best work, and they're doing what they think is best. And so I am not going to be critical of them at all.
On that note, may I ask a question? Question being, okay, so this is going to be for people who are able to buy from a breeder, most likely, but also a lot of breeders have restrictions on when that pet is spayed or neutered.
Yeah, so I would say, I don't know, I think it's a lot of this literature's been out for almost 20 years now. When I first got out of school, this was a topic of conversation where we started to get data that showed when we took away sex hormones before growth plates closed. And growth plates close later in bigger dogs. So maybe for a really large breed dog, a giant breed dog, it would be closer to like 16 months. And a small breed dog, maybe it's closer to 9 months. When we take away those sex hormones and we let dogs grow without those sex hormones, that growth plate closes later, causing the long bones to become longer and changing the angles of the joints. Stay with me here. And we think that causes more orthopedic disease like cruciate tears, CL tears. And that's really common. So we thought, okay, well, what do we need to do to lessen that risk? And to lessen that risk, we let dogs grow with their sex hormones intact. So usually that means having them go through their first heat cycle, which is anywhere from like 7 months to 18 months,
Huh.
depending on how big the dog is. The smaller the dog, the earlier the heat cycle.
And for some people, that's a big ask to
That is
have
a
a dog that goes through a heat cycle.
Yes, because when dogs go through heat cycles, they bleed for several weeks. So 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes even 4. And for some people and for some dogs, it's not that big of a deal. But you have to keep your dog away from intact dogs. Maybe there's some behavior changes. Maybe they want to make poor life decisions, like run away, like pick fights with other
Like they
dogs.
enter their teenage years.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And they feel really influenced by their hormones. And so it's kind of a big deal for some people. For me, I would really struggle with that in my daily life, having a dog bleed for 3 weeks and having to have them wear a diaper, and that would be a big ask for me. What about you? Would you do it?
Because the benefits for their long term are their quality benefits for life, I feel like I could push through
You would do
that
one.
struggle. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
do one. I don't think I'd do much beyond that.
Yes. Well, now there's more and more research coming out that, I mean, it's not a ton, but there's research that maybe if we leave dogs intact longer, so if we leave the uterus and the ovaries in there, and it's mostly the ovaries, that we have less cancers. So less lymphomas, less hemangiosarcomas. And so that's causing people to say, like, okay, I'm just going to keep my dog intact for years. And the problem with that, I mean, I get it and it makes sense. I mean, we're in an age with, perimenopausal and menopausal women, we're back to like putting hormones back.
Yeah.
We're all supplementing the estrogen, the progesterone, the testosterone
And
back
maybe we'll
in.
get there with animals too.
And maybe we'll get there with
So
animals
that
too.
then this whole conversation will change again.
It will. This is, but
Mhm.
it's going to keep changing. And so the problem is when we leave a uterus and ovaries in a dog, at some point, I usually think it's around 5 or 6, the risk of uterine infection after a heat becomes, I want to say it's astronomical. That's not a real statistic. But as a practitioner, it feels astronomical because
Because you see a lot of it.
we see it.
We do see a lot of it.
And when it happens, it's catastrophic and sometimes fatal. It's a panic because it's a surgical emergency and it's not an easy surgery. Basically, what happens is the uterus fills with pus.
Us.
And your dog can become septic. The uterus can rupture, and that carries a really guarded prognosis. And it's a surgical emergency, so it's at least $5,000. And we see so many dogs lose their life this way, either because people can't afford it or because we can't get to them in time or our surgery isn't saving their life. And so I really hesitate to keep female dogs intact past like 4 or 5 because it
Yeah,
feels.
once you've seen a pyometra, it's one of my least favorite texts or emails that come through when people are describing something. And I'm just like, oh, no, no, no.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's one of my least favorite. Maybe it's also because I'm female and I imagine for that dog, it's extremely uncomfortable. That's putting it mildly. It's got to be painful.
Well, I mean,
You can't get at it. It's inside your body.
Yeah, and you feel so sick. Like these dogs are so sick. And then we're asking them to go into surgery, and then they can be terrible anesthetic candidates. It's a mess. Yeah. And I really
Okay.
don't recommend keeping female dogs intact past 5.
So if they go through one heat cycle,
Mm-hmm.
they're getting the benefit of allowing their growth to be as it should. Is there any benefit anywhere between that one heat cycle and the 5-year?
I think there is. I think there is benefit. I think these dogs stay leaner. They're more muscled, but the downside is that they have heat cycles every 6 months. They're at risk for unwanted pregnancies. They're at risk for poor decision making. And there are some social implications. Some of these dogs can't go to doggy daycare.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if this is quite the same in female dogs as it is in male dogs, but an intact male dog at a dog park is like at risk for the bullying. Like
Mhm.
neutered dogs do not want to hang out with intact dogs. They are so offended by them and they beat up on them. And
Well, an
it's
unspayed female is probably going to be harassed on some level too, because she's letting out those pheromones well before we know, you know,
I know.
those signals. So I would assume she's just the receiver of harassment at times as well.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that because there's like less intact female dogs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't feel
Well,
like
yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot to ask because how many cycles will a female dog have
it's every 6
over a
months usually.
lifetime?
Yeah, so twice a year,
Yeah.
generally. I mean, every dog is different, but
Mm.
yeah. And so
And the
then
mishaps always happen where I don't
they
think she's been
do.
around an intact dog. Or you don't
Yeah.
know that she's in her cycle yet because she's not actively bleeding. So it's tricky. You got to be hyper
And
vigilant.
yeah, and as we keep more male dogs intact, even in areas where dogs are under very close and tight supervision, I just think, "Oh, no." Which, is it the end of the world? Probably not, but for those that are trying to control the animal population or, then it's definitely if they've come in contact with a male dog, it might be time to have, uh, a spay right then and there so that there can't be any viable puppies. It's like a dog abortion.
Mhm. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. And so the options we have are to, like you said, you can spay at 6 months if you're like, hey, I don't want to deal with any of these heat cycles. I had a mom with 2 young kids and her small dog come in this summer, and her dog was 4 months, and she's like, "Can I not do the first heat cycle?" And I told her, absolutely, you don't have to do that. We can spay your dog at 6 months, and so we did, and it was a small breed dog. And all of those orthopedic risks are less for that dog anyways, and so I think it's
That was what I
so
was going to ask you. So so they don't necessarily have to go through the heat cycle to get the benefit. It's just the longer you delay, or is the heat cycle actually the benefit because there's just an astronaut? Oh,
no.
how did we use that word twice in one episode? Astronomical. I don't know.
It's the word of the
And
episode.
yeah, is there just an astronomical dump of hormones that
You know,
give the benefit?
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just that we're allowing those growth plates to close at the time that they would have in the presence of the sex hormones.
Okay, so then what is your right? Okay, let's go back to the Akita. So she was at 18 months. Was she wanting to continue
Well,
not
that's what
spaying?
and this man that was the guardian of this Akita was so lovely. We just had the best conversation because he was going to Rise Vet in Boulder next to talk to them about their ovary-sparing spay. And I think they're one of the only clinics in maybe the whole state that's doing this.
Really? I thought it
Yeah.
was much more common than that because I've been in clinics that have been doing it.
You have?
Not here in Colorado though, but it was in Oregon.
Okay. Was that Rachel's
Yeah.
clinic? Was Rachel doing
Mhm.
it?
Mhm.
Oh, and, I mean, because I don't think it doesn't make the surgery harder. I mean, it's not that big of a deal to just not take the ovaries. You just leave them there. Um, so the idea is you take out the uterus so that you can't have a pyometra, you can't have a uterine infection. Although you can maybe still have, we call them stump pyometras, where the uterine stump is left in. Like it's just, there's a little bit of uterine tissue that's left. And sometimes that can still become infected under the influence of estrogen. I don't see that happen very often because we always take the ovaries. And so I wonder if we'll start seeing that. The conversation I had with this man about doing an ovary sparing spay on the Akita was that 10, 15 years ago, when everyone was leaving their male dogs intact, we just thought, oh, we'll leave them intact for their whole life. But over the last 5 years or so, I just see testicular tumor after testicular tumor after prostatic hyperplasia. Like prostate and testicular disease and cancer is, we'll just call it astronomical in these dogs. And I'm like, oh, we did not do them any favors by keeping them intact this long. And I wonder if we start leaving ovaries in dogs and they're going to continue to have the same heat cycle, are we going to see ovarian cancer? I mean, we will. We'll see it at a bigger rate. I don't know how high of a rate because I've never practiced in a time where we kept ovaries.
Right. So when someone's asking for an ovary-sparing procedure, what are they hoping to gain? Just a continuation of sex hormones
Yes. It's kind of like,
without the risk of pregnancy.
without the risk of pregnancy and pyometra and that uterine infection that we were talking about. And so they want to benefit from that estrogen, which is understandable. I mean, we're all replacing our estrogen as we lose it, as our ovaries are failing. And so I think it makes sense. I just can't guarantee that it's the right thing socially for a dog. Now, this dog loves daycare. And for an 18-month-old Akita, I think daycare is really important. And so I think that they should either do an ovary-sparing spay or spay this dog to keep the dog in daycare, because I think we really, as a holistic general practitioner, my dog's mental health, my patient's mental health is really important to me. It's
Yeah, I
yeah, and
agree.
like how there's
Quality of life.
yes, it's a quality of life issue, and I think that keeping them home from daycare. And when I say daycare, I mean, they're just basically having social time with their friends. It's like
Right.
school. Keeping them
Play
home.
dates.
Yeah, it's their play dates. Keeping them home just doesn't, I don't think it makes sense
Okay.
for their
So
overall
your
well-being.
recommendation is ideally one heat cycle if you can.
If you can. I think it's so individual, and that's what we talked about. I told him, I was like, why don't we take it one heat cycle at a time and see where you are, see where she is socially, see how the heat cycles are. Some dogs really struggle, like people, with their heat cycles, and we can just make them stop. And I told him, if we do an ovary-sparing spay, at some point we should consider going in and getting those ovaries.
That's what I was going to ask you. Could he further down the line then just go in and have the ovaries removed? I mean, sadly, that's a second surgical anesthetic procedure, but fairly simple. I hate using
Fairly
that word for
simple.
surgery,
Yeah.
but in terms of surgery, fairly simple.
Yes.
Okay. Options. I love that people have options and that there is discussion that can be had.
Yes.
So, and I like your approach that each one is individual to the household and their needs and the dog's needs, and they can pivot at any point.
Yes, exactly. But I told him by 5, the uterus has to come out.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. That seems super, super clear. Is there anything you want to throw in about our feline friends and spays?
Well, yeah, let's talk
Oh.
about
Yay. There's-
when I think about leaving a female cat intact and living with their heat cycles, which
oh,
come all the
that's what I
time.
thought about too. At the very beginning
No.
when you said it, I was like, oh, that's a very different situation.
Yeah, no one's gonna live like that. And the cat shouldn't have to live like that. They're so uncomfortable. Okay, so for those of you listening that have never seen an intact female cat in heat, they are beside themselves for days, weeks, and they are very vocal, and the agitation is just next level. Dogs
There's a
do not do this.
desperation to them.
Oh my gosh.
Ugh. It's a
Yeah.
bad look for females.
Do that. So yeah, female cats, just no one's gonna leave them intact unless the breeder probably would, and I don't know how they live with that, but no, no one's gonna do that. So I feel like it's kind of a non-issue.
Okay, let's move on to the male counterparts, the canines.
Okay, testicles. When do we
Yeah.
take them? This one's so much easier to talk about because dogs do better when they have their testicles for a while. I mean, I would say if you want to leave your dog intact, you are increasing the risk of testicular cancer later. Usually it's later. But I mean, if you could leave those testicles for 3/4 of their life, that has a lot of benefit. Your dog's going to be leaner. They're going to have more muscle. There's no data to support that they have more behavioral problems or they're
I
more
was gonna ask that.
aggressive. We just don't have the data to support it. Now, anecdotally, people will keep their dogs intact And 2, they're like, "I just can't handle this, and I'm gonna neuter them," and they feel like they see some difference in behavior. Probably a lot of that's so dependent on the breed and the
Uh,
dog, the individual dog, but we don't have any data to support that by neutering them, we have less behavior issues. In fact, like I said earlier in the episode, we know when we neuter them before 6 months, we see more behavior issues.
okay, so a behavior issue that I hear about a lot when a dog is intact is humping. But I feel like I see that in all dogs.
In all dogs,
Male,
yes,
female, intact, not intact.
I
So
know,
I,
and I
I, I doubt that has anything to do with their testosterone.
which feels counterintuitive. It
Mhm.
feels like having testosterone there would make dogs hump more, but we don't find the data to support it. And when dogs are humpers and when we take away their testosterone, a lot of times they stay humpers. It's
They
super
stay humpers.
disappointing.
Some of them aggressive humpers. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
thing.
So keep going.
Okay, so we just have to we just have to find out when we're going to neuter them. And we can do that immediately at 6 months. Some people are like, I just need to do this so that my dog cannot interact with a intact female dog, and that's okay. Or if the dog is getting bullied at the dog park, can't go to daycare, then I would recommend neutering them. And
What
so
is your theory behind that? What is happening that other dogs know that this dog is intact and different?
I think they can smell it. And
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
it's a
know
smell.
why neuter dogs are so insecure about being neutered and why they have to be aggressive towards the intact dogs. I
Mm.
don't know. Maybe it's just more male behavior, JoJo.
I don't know. You want to talk about male behavior in neutered dogs? For those, we do see this, and this is not a shame fest. It's just a thing that happens that oftentimes the male gendered human will come into practice and not want to neuter his dog because he's afraid his dog will miss his nuts. True. Like he's really like somehow
Yeah.
I know when I
Yeah.
say it, it doesn't sound right. Anthropomorphous,
Yeah.
meaning putting our human emotions onto
Yes.
another species.
Dogs don't have toxic masculinity.
Right.
I'm just
Although we
gonna
kind of just said they kind of do at the dog park.
well, I guess the neutered ones. Yeah, that's true.
Right. Yeah, it's not likely your dog's going to miss his testicles.
No, they don't. They're not attached like that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I know
And
people really worry about emasculating their dog, and they just don't have
yeah,
to.
it's a
They
conversation that happens more than I would like to admit.
yes. And in show dogs, when they're cryptorchid, meaning one of their testicles did not descend, but we have to go and get it, but they're still want to be in the show ring, which I feel like this, I don't know if this is even allowed, but you can put in what's called a nudicle, which is a fake testicle. I'm assuming they probably do this for people too. I don't really know.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure.
right? Don't you think this started in people and then just came to the
Well, I was
animals?
looking at it because I knew we were going to do this episode. I'm like, didn't we used to have these nudicles?
Nudicles.
I couldn't believe I even remember the name. So it must have been a thing. And it started in the 90s.
Yeah, I've not seen a nudicle in practice ever, but
And they
it
come in
must
like
be.
11 sizes, right? For your toy breed to your Danes.
So everyone can see
Um,
their
or
testicles.
I mean, who's choosing it's just all of this.
I don't know.
Would you ever do this?
No.
Yeah.
No. No, I certainly would.
It reminds me of men who drive big trucks with the sacks hanging off the back.
That's probably right.
It's just a
But they
flex.
it's
It's a flex
it's
that's
like,
not effective.
get my
I
dog in the show
guarantee you the
ring.
girl dogs at the dog park are not like, oh, you have size 8 nudicles. Right? It's just not going to be a thing.
Yeah. I wonder how much those cost.
Oh, in the 90s, they were $700.
Oh my gosh. I wonder surgically, have you ever watched anyone put one in?
No.
Okay, because I'm
I
wondering
just
like
know
how
we had
much.
conversations about them with the men who were like, please don't take my dog's testicles. Well, here's your options.
Yeah, we can replace them with nudicles.
I wonder if those have their own set of foreign body issues like breast implants do in humans.
Yeah,
You're
maybe. I don't know what they're made of. I've never seen one. I've never had to do a reverse neuter where I put a nudicle
yeah.
back into the
Okay, but we'll get off the topic of that. But that does
okay.
happen, and But there are options now in the vasectomy.
Yeah. So now practitioners, and I don't know, can you do a vasectomy at Rise? Andrew
Oh, I
doing?
don't know. I don't have many people ask.
Okay. But is he offering them?
I don't know. And I don't know that every veterinarian at Rise is doing the ovary-sparing. I think it might just be one,
It's just
maybe
Andrew.
two.
Okay. Dr.
Yeah.
Bull. I should call him by his formal name. Um,
Yes.
yeah. Andrew Bull. We really love him. So we can do vasectomies in dogs. I don't know how many veterinarians do them. And that's valid. Your dog can't cause unwanted pregnancy. But we're still at a high risk for testicular cancer later in life. And so I think just like with the ovary-sparing spay, at some point you want to go back and get those gonads, get the
Uh-huh.
ovaries, get the testicles. And so if you're okay with doing two different procedures, that is an option.
Yeah. His testicular cancer, though, easy in terms of its invasiveness. So if somebody were to find it, it's you just take the testicles then.
No, I mean, the last two that I've found probably in the last 3 months, not only so it invaded the whole testicle, but then it ascended the scrotum to the body
Oh,
wall, and they can be quite difficult. So one of them we had to have a surgeon come in and do
okay.
because it was going to be difficult. And the surgeon did get it all in that case, but then I saw another one where it was like it had invaded the body wall, and I don't know that we were ever going to get all that cancer out. So,
Okay. I mean, so it sounds like people have a lot of options.
yes.
There should always be a dialogue with your veterinarian.
Yes.
A lot of plays if in the queue, like what's your lifestyle? What's your dog's behaviors? What do you value? What are your values in terms of longevity, quality of life, multiple surgeries? There's a lot to think about.
There's a lot to think about. Yes. And I think it's all okay. And I'm going to end the episode with the thought that we can do everything we can to make our dogs the healthiest and live the longest. However, sometimes we cannot win against genetic forces. So if you have a golden retriever and you think, I'm going to keep my dog intact, and then because I keep my dog intact, they're not going to get cancer. That's a little bit of a losing battle. And I hate to say that. It's just that maybe can you lessen the risk? Maybe. And I think at the end of the day, there's just some acceptance that there's probably not any single decision that you're going to make that will necessarily change the outcome. And so enjoy life. Let your dog enjoy life. And if that means neutering them so they can go to daycare, do it. And if that means I don't want to have a heat cycle every 6 months, I'm going to enjoy my life and we're going to have a better time together, spay your dog and it's okay.
Great. I think that's good advice.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We didn't talk about our male cats. Do you
Oh,
have anything to throw in about male cats?
yes. Okay. So I have seen 2 male cats that were kept intact inside that did really well. Did you see there was the one that we used to make house calls to? Did you ever come with me to the
Yeah, I don't remember this kitty's name,
Yes, but like
but yes.
he was so lovely. He was very svelte
Mhm.
too, because he had testosterone. So he wasn't, usually our indoor kitties, like they gain weight because we take away their sex hormones and then feed them and they stay inside. Now this cat did not go outside. I don't know that you can't have a male cat that goes outside and keep them intact. That's
No,
that's not
no.
on. So this cat stayed inside, and I mean he did quite well. So that's
Yeah,
my
and what you hear about there is marking,
yeah. But he
and I
didn't.
don't think he had a marking issue.
No, he
So
was
again,
lovely.
to each their own. Like, you evaluate your pet's situation
Mhm.
uniquely. You might not always make the same choice
Right. And that's okay. And you can take it 1 year at a time.
1 year at a time. I love that. Easy
Yes.
enough.
Yes. So if you would like to learn more about this topic or any other topic, you can check out our website. We just moved platforms and launched a new website, boulderholisticvet.com. And you can get any of our courses for free just because you listen to this podcast. What is the code, JoJo?
Truth tales, and tales can be spelled TAILS or TALES. and that will get you a free course, in which I just thought, Angie, this would make a good course.
Because there's so much more. Like, we've been talking for 34 minutes, and there's still
Mhm.
more to talk about.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people probably would have a lot of questions.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. We'll
Yeah.
make a course.
Okay.
Okay. See you next time. We'd love it if you leave a comment and subscribe. It helps us out. Even if it's negative, tell us what you think. See you
Okay.
next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.